Many are calling this skyscraper the most terrifying building in the world.
New Yorkers will know this building. It's the weirdest building you'll ever see.
Allegedly capable of withstanding a nuclear bomb.
The what building? The Long Lines Building. It's the AT&T Long Lines Building, 33 Thomas Street, New York.
With the lights off, it looks completely spooky.
Tom Hanks sure thinks so. He spotted the building and tweeted, "This is the scariest building I've ever seen."
29 floors, 3 basement levels, enough food in it to feed 1,500 people.
How does a 29-story skyscraper not have any windows?
A fortress built to keep New York's communications alive. But when a building looks this ominous, the purpose is never as simple as the brochure.
And then the Snowden documents it was just such a bombshell.
For 2 years, secret documents leaked by former national security contractor Edward Snowden.
The NSA was collecting the phone records of every Verizon customer.
But not only are they collecting all this stuff, but they were in our files, they can read our email, they can, our search history, everything about us.
U.S. government spying on terrorism suspects, foreign leaders, and American citizens.
This video is brought to you by Houzeo. On Houzeo, if you're buying a home, you'll find the largest collection of homes for sale in America. And if you are selling, join thousands of other home sellers to sell fast and save thousands in commissions, all online. Check out Houzeo.com on the web or the Houzeo mobile app.
The year was 1969. America was landing on the moon.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Fighting the Vietnam War. And Elvis Presley was topping the charts with his banger, Suspicious Minds. But beneath the surface, the world was holding its breath.
At the start of the 1960s, Cold War tensions were heightening. Confrontation threatened.
After World War II, the United States and the Soviet Union were in a Cold War.
The two superpowers watched and waited, preparing for a nuclear holocaust.
In the height of their arsenals, the two superpowers held about 71,400 nuclear warheads combined. The only thing that held each of them back from launching a nuclear attack on the other was the threat of mutually assured destruction.
The threat of mutual suicide that came to be known as MAD, MAD.
The fear of a surprise nuclear attack was a palpable, everyday reality. President John F. Kennedy, a Democrat, and New York Governor Nelson Rockefeller, a Republican, initiated several programs to create nuclear fallout shelters in Manhattan buildings. America's biggest priority was to secure command and control over communications. The government needed a building, one that could withstand a nuclear attack and maintain the chain of command. Entered the American Telephone and Telegraph Company, AT&T, founded in 1885 by Alexander Graham Bell, Thomas Watson, and Gardner Greene Hubbard.
It is remarkable.
AT&T would go on to become an empire.
So from 1899, AT&T became the dominant player, both in terms of local telephone traffic and in terms of long-distance telephone traffic.
AT&T controlled over 80% of US telephones and employed nearly 1 million people. At its peak in the 1960s, its annual revenue was around $12 billion, which is about $120 billion today. To operate at that scale, AT&T needed a secure facility, a building that could house its massive switching equipment. To build it, they first had to erase a piece of the city's soul in Tribeca in Lower Manhattan.
This area, particularly around Thomas Street, was known for its historic cast iron buildings. And on this site, the telecommunications giant built a faceless monolith, an alien-looking facility in Manhattan.
Sorry. The man chosen to design this Goliath of a structure was John Carl Warnecke. Warnecke, an architectural confidant to the Kennedys, was known for his elegant and restrained aesthetic. His famous works included the Hawaii State Capitol and Lauinger Library. One fine morning, Warnecke received a brief from AT&T that read like science fiction. On the table was Project X, not a residential tower or a commercial space, but a critical node in the national telecommunications grid. It had to have the capability to withstand a nuclear attack, operate completely off-grid for 2 weeks, and handle the most sophisticated communication systems of the time. Project X had to house and operate massive electronic switching systems. The first of their kind, the systems were capable of processing up to 175 million calls a day. The switching systems generated immense heat and were heavy enough to overwhelm any regular structure. A building with an extraordinary purpose needs to have an extraordinary design. The lack of windows, the lack of setbacks, and the stark, brutalist architecture in the middle of Manhattan. 3 distinct features set Project X apart from conventional buildings. Warnecke had to sacrifice windows to focus on strength. After all, this tower needed to be strong enough to withstand a nuclear blast.
Project X is a massive skyscraper allegedly capable of withstanding a nuclear bomb.
AT&T also applied for and received special permission to build a 535-foot tower without any setbacks.
No setbacks meant the building would cast a long shadow over Worth and Thomas streets. The final design was unique, to say the least.
Warnecke built the tower on a dense steel frame with columns spaced 20 feet apart to provide rigidity against shock waves. The design included 6 large protrusions on its exterior. They housed air ducts, stairs, elevators, and utilities. The tower would have 29 floors, and the ceilings would be nearly 18 feet high. That was enough to accommodate the massive switching systems. These machines would sit on floors that could handle loads of 200 to 300 pounds per square foot.
29 floors, 3 basement levels, enough food in it to feed 1,500 people, 2 weeks, which is like in the event of a catastrophe. So it's like already, it's supposed to be this AT&T building, but it has nuclear bunkers and food stocked up. It's like, this is not an AT&T building. What are you talking about?
Construction began in 1969, and by 1974, Project X was complete. It was now called the AT&T Long Lines Building. This critical node functioned smoothly from 1974 to 1991, successfully navigating the post-Cold War era.
The nuclear threat, while far from gone, is receding. Eastern Europe is free. The Soviet Union itself is no more.
Then, disaster struck. It was September 17th, 1991, 4:25 a.m. The lights went out at 33 Thomas Street, and with them, half of America's telecommunications network. More than 5 million calls were instantly severed. Air traffic control systems crashed at 398 airports across the northeastern states. Flights were delayed by hours. The FBI's private lines went dead. Wall Street's trading systems shuttered. America had screeched to a grinding halt. The cause was ridiculous for such a high-tech catastrophe. The outage occurred when the building was switching from the public power grid to its on-site generators. It was a stark reminder that 33 Thomas Street wasn't just another building. It was a pivotal piece of a very important puzzle. A centralized and vulnerable node that could bring an entire communications grid to a halt if it malfunctioned. The disaster exposed the building's importance, but it took a whistleblower to reveal its true purpose.
Enter Mark Klein, a veteran technician with over 22 years of experience. Back in 2003, Klein was handling the phone lines at AT&T. While he was working at the AT&T San Francisco building, he stumbled upon a secret construction. It was a high-security, restricted personnel-only clandestine space with an ominous label: Room 641A.
It's room 641A, says on the door, and what's mysterious about it is there's no door handle. I traced the cabling coming out of the room. I could not find direct cabling going from the secret room to the phone switch. The cabling all seemed to go upstairs.
As a technician, Klein had access to the wiring diagrams. What he uncovered in those diagrams rewrote history.
But what I discovered in 2003 was that they were tying into the main internet data stream because of the installations at AT&T.
Fiber optic splitters were being installed directly onto the internet backbone, and the devices were designed for just one purpose: to make a perfect copy of all the data flowing through and divert it into the secret room.
So you put a cable in there, the light beam goes in there, and it's split like that. One half is going to the secret lane, and the other half is going to its normal assigned destination, but it's been copied in the process.
Inside, the NSA had its own equipment, turning the fire hose of private data into a searchable library. Klein's discovery was a crack in the facade, but it took another decade for the tower's secrets to be entirely exposed. In 2013, the other shoe dropped. Edward Snowden, an NSA contractor, made a calculated decision.
I think that the public is owed an explanation of the motivations behind the people who make these disclosures that are outside of the democratic model. When you are subverting the power of government, that's a fundamentally dangerous thing to democracy.
And he chose Hong Kong, a city known for its spirited commitment to free speech and its power to resist immediate pressure from the US. There in a hotel room, he handed over the NSA's confidential documents to a group of journalists. The leak exposed the NSA's entire global surveillance machine, from spying on world leaders to collecting data from tech giants.
The NSA was collecting the phone records of every Verizon customer on a daily basis. They were doing this for other major telecommunications providers as well. I just didn't have the judicial order for that. And this was happening to the internet. This was happening to email.
Buried within those files was the story of the NSA's most important corporate partner. They revealed a decades-long program codenamed Fairview and its partner, AT&T. The relationship was described as highly collaborative, with internal memos praising the company's extreme willingness to help. This wasn't just any passive assistance. The 9/11 attacks provided the reason for a new era of warrantless mass surveillance that supercharged the NSA's partnership with AT&T. An internal NSA newsletter called the 9/11 terror attacks a push, which led to AT&T providing over 1.1 billion domestic cell phone records daily. Snowden's files provided the roadmap to expose something dark and deadly. For decades, critics had pointed out the building's true purpose: the windowless facade, the nuclear-resistant design, and the absolute secrecy seemed too convenient for a simple telephone exchange. Armed with the Snowden leaks, journalists at The Intercept finally proved these critics right. In 2016, they made a shocking discovery. The documents leaked by Snowden contained a hidden codename, TITANPOINTE. Journalists cross-referenced architectural plans, NSA travel guides for agents, and technical specifications searching for this codename. They concluded that TITANPOINTE was 33 Thomas Street.
Site, TITANPOINTE. All equipment has been ordered and received. Signal has been duplicated with a 3070 splitter. At this time, we are fully processing the voice-over IP and video teleconferencing data, and have developed an interim solution for the high data rates on existing architecture.
The leaked documents also identified a partner codenamed Lithium, which was none other than AT&T. Further, they linked the building's rooftop equipment to the NSA's Skid Row program, designed to intercept satellite communications. The investigation suggested that TITANPOINTE wasn't alone. It's believed to be the flagship of a network of at least 8 similar windowless AT&T hubs across the country. And according to the documents, the AT&T Long Lines Tower also housed a sensitive compartmented information facility, SCIF, a secure room where NSA's equipment could intercept all communications passing through the building. In essence, this room was New York's version of the infamous 641A. The surveillance operation wasn't just limited to the NSA and AT&T. The leaked documents revealed a third key partner: the FBI. According to an NSA handbook for agents, the FBI was responsible for handling all security at TITANPOINTE. And this partnership was made easy by geography. The FBI's field office sits in the Jacob K. Javits Federal Building, right across the street. This hints that the operational security was meticulously planned. Further, the handbook instructed agents visiting TITANPOINTE to get a cover vehicle from the FBI to avoid any public detection.
These vehicles are for official use only, to include the transport of NSA equipment and personnel who actively support NSA FBI programs. These programs currently include Blarney, Fairview, Strombrew, and Oakstar.
NSA agents working at TITANPOINTE were told to prepare cover stories for family and co-workers and forbidden from wearing any NSA identifying badges or clothing. If an agent got into a car accident or any problem, the instructions were to remain calm and call a specific number. That number belonged to the FBI. FBI agents would handle everything to protect the operation's cover. With all the pieces in place, the building's design suddenly made perfect sense. The windowless facade wasn't just about temperature control, it was about operational security. The nuclear-resistant construction wasn't just Cold War paranoia. It was about protecting critical intelligence assets. And the massive structural capacity wasn't just for telephone equipment, it was for the server farms and data storage systems required for mass surveillance. This system created a chilling effect that caused people to self-censor.
Why do you think you were charged under the Espionage Act? That's pretty rare.
To send a chilling message.
To whom?
To other whistleblowers, to others in the government, not to speak out or speak out. Do not tell truth to power. We'll hammer you.
It altered the relationship between citizens and their government, creating a surveillance complex that operates in secret. The NSA had utilized AT&T's extreme willingness to help to transform 33 Thomas Street into a powerful domestic surveillance site in the US. And this was achieved by using the same blueprint Klein had exposed years ago. But even with its secrets exposed, the building continued to operate in plain sight, generating value in ways more than one. AT&T owns the land, but in a long history of telecom mergers, Verizon currently owns 13% of the building's floor space. It represents the physical manifestation of what many Americans fear, that their most private communications are being collected, analyzed, and stored in facilities they can't see, understand, or challenge.
AT&T maintains that it does not voluntarily provide information to any investigating authorities other than if a person's life is in danger and time is of the essence.
The NSA and the FBI refused to confirm or deny what the Snowden documents revealed, and the tower still represents a unique blend of architecture, technology, and power. The NSA surveillance, though, seems to be more than just a conspiracy theory. This makes us ask, as technology and society continue to evolve, how do we navigate the balance between the security we're promised and the privacy we expect? If this is just one building we know about, what else is hidden in plain sight? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Houzeo's YouTube channel.